What's going on, guys? It's Rob from Heroes Avenue. Happy Friday. We have a lot of interesting things to talk about in the world of DC today because Jason Momoa is once again fueling the fire for the Snyder Cut with his most recent comments, and I'm going to give you a taste of what he said. We're going to talk a little bit about the whole Green Lantern situation, and we're also going to talk a little bit about the Batman because I just saw The Lighthouse this past week, and I do want to talk about it just a bit. So, first off, let me start this video off by saying happy birthday to my boy Marcus. I know you watch most of our videos. Sorry I couldn't party with you on your birthday. The baby's about to come out anytime now, so I gotta sit here and wait, but I will celebrate with you once I can. So happy birthday, Marcus. And let's go ahead and start this video off. So guys, Jason Momoa recently just did an interview. I think it's with MTV, but I'm gonna give you a clip of it right here in just a second. But we already did a video talking about how he mentioned he saw the Snyder Cut. We did a video maybe like a month ago or so. We have even more concrete evidence now because he says it to this guy in this interview. So let's check out this interview.
And I brought up the Snyder Cut, you're like, yeah, I need to see that.
Yeah, absolutely. But I have seen it, so.
I've seen
the Snyder Cut, so.
So what does that mean? Because the effects aren't done. Like you've seen his assemblage of footage and alternate takes, etc.
Oh, do you think Zach couldn't finish it? You don't think he?
I don't know. You tell me. He's finished.
I mean, listen, man. Next question.
Do you think we'll ever see it? Do you think the public will ever see it at this point? Because it seems like it's actually the groundswell has grown. And a year ago, I would have had my doubts.
You know, I'm obviously indebted to Warner's and DC, and you know, I don't know how they feel about it, but I mean,
right.
As a fan, I'm very, very happy that I got to see it.
Does it feel like a totally different movie than the Justice League that was released?
Yeah.
Okay. Here's hoping. Okay.
So there you have it, guys. Jason Momoa says it right then and there. You don't think that Zack Snyder can finish the cut on his own? And the reporter looks pretty dumbfounded, and he almost looks like he regrets asking him in that way. And Jason Momoa says he saw it, and of course he's going to be indebted to both Zack Snyder and Warner Brothers and DC for giving him the opportunity to play the iconic role of Aquaman. And it must be an incredibly tough situation for him to be in, not being able to really express his feelings about the whole industry and what's gone on behind the scenes. But of course, there is a huge story there. So fortunately, there's not a lot of deniers of the Snyder Cut anymore, but there are still some, and even people in, you know, bigger positions than myself, and I'm not even in a big position at all, but people who are hosting shows and things like that are still denying this. And check out Film Gob's video on this. He does put a highlights of someone asking Jesse Eisenberg, who played Lex Luthor, about the Snyder Cut and saying that I know it doesn't really exist, and Jesse Eisenberg, being a person who hasn't really seen Justice League, couldn't really defend the Snyder Cut movement. But there are still some naysayers out there, unfortunately, but not a lot. And with Jason Momoa saying this, it got me really, really hyped up because we need to keep the discussion alive, and I know there's plenty of YouTubers out there who keep the discussion alive, and we always try to mention it on here whenever there is Snyder Cut news. And this just reminded me of the fact that Junkie XL, the original composer of Justice League, who was replaced by Danny Elfman. Joss Whedon replaced Junkie XL with Danny Elfman when he hopped on board the Justice League movie, took over for Zack Snyder. That was one thing that I was really, really disappointed by and it was one of those, you know, red flags that came up. Like, hey, why is he replacing the composer Junkie XL when Junkie XL was almost complete with the score? But we had confirmation the other day, if you guys have not heard. Junkie XL has the score of the Justice League and it's complete already. So here's a quote from Junkie XL himself. He says he was doing an interview with, I don't have it right here, but he was doing a recent interview and he said, the full score is still there. It's a really great score and it's just there. It never goes away. We'll see what happens in the future, you know? With him saying this and Jason Momoa just recently going on this interview and saying this, you know, if you keep the conversation alive, it continues to put pressure on WB. Now, y'all know WB has a lot going on right now. They just did a bunch of announcements for their upcoming HBO Max streaming services, which we're going to talk about in a second. But just think about it, guys. Jason Momoa said that this movie is a whole different movie. And especially with all the things that were cut out, and you can look back at our previous videos about this topic and what was changed, we probably need to make a playlist on this channel about all the things that have changed, because we've covered all of those things. Now, thinking about Junkie XL's score in there, Junkie XL worked with Hans Zimmer on BVS, and I thought the score for BVS was a worthy companion to the excellent Hans Zimmer Man of Steel score from, was it 2014 or so? But man, Junkie XL, I would have loved to see his work on Zack Snyder's movie. And even in the Justice League movie that we got, the score can change a lot of how you perceive and experience the movie. And I think Junkie XL's score probably would have been a lot better than Danny Elfman's, at least a lot better of a fit. Don't get me wrong, Danny Elfman's an incredibly talented guy. Made the iconic 1989 Batman theme, Batman animated series theme as well. And I do like his Flash score. It was kind of the skeleton of a Flash score that he put in Justice League. I did like that part. But I would have definitely loved to see Junkie XL's score, because it's such a different style that he has. It's very much more hard-hitting and intense versus the whimsical style of Danny Elfman. Now, so I'm excited for this. I'm glad Jason Momoa set this guy kind of straight. I mean, it wasn't an attack or anything, but Jason Momoa really just went, come on, man, you really don't think Zack could complete this? And the fact that he said he's seen it and he loves it and he wants all the fans to experience it, I think it's just great to keep the conversation going. So let me know what you guys thought about Jason Momoa's comments about the Snyder Cut down below. We are going to move on to the next topic, which has to do with the whole Green Lantern situation. Now, I know Darren covered it what was it, a couple days ago, when HBO announced that they would be doing a live-action Green Lantern series for HBO Max. So we do know that the show is going to be, or I think it's going to be around 8 to 10 episodes, around $100 million, I believe. Correct me if I'm wrong down below, but this has a real good chance of being a really great cinematic TV series, right? So it has a big enough budget to do so, and I'm excited for it. I talked about Green Lantern the other day, though I do hope that they do find a way to tie this series into the wider DCEU, and I think there's room to do so. I got really excited when they were gonna, HBO and DC was about to do this presentation. I was like, man, if they do announce the Snyder Cut, but they didn't. But we do got this announcement about the Green Lantern show, and I'm excited for it. I'm really excited for it. I do have HBO, so it's definitely a series that I'm gonna check out. I still haven't checked out Watchmen, but I will at some point. So this Green Lantern series, it's raised a lot of questions of whether or not this means the end for the live-action Green Lantern movie. Now, you can probably find articles from certain websites that say, yep, this is definitely the end. I believe Screen Rant just recently put up an article saying, yep, this TV series spells the end for a live-action series. And then you can find other articles that say, hey, there's still room for a live-action movie in the DCEU. Now, one of those places is We Got This Covered. And again, I know it's beaten over the head already. We Got This Covered is a site that drops a lot of rumors, and a lot of the things don't end up coming true. They have had a few things come true, but again, when you're guessing so much, or when they're throwing so much out there, something's got to stick, right? But again, I don't want to knock it too much, because hey, maybe they do have sources. Whether it's wrong, those sources are wrong or right, they have sources that are telling them otherwise. They think that the Green Lantern movie is still potentially in play, and that the HBO series, which we don't have a lot of details on, that story or that series may focus on characters that are not Hal Jordan or Jon Stewart. So that would leave a lot of room for the DCEU live action movie to play with in terms of those main characters and the characters we love in the Green Lantern Corps, so there might be a lot of room there, so I think there is room for that. For me personally, I like to stay a little bit optimistic. I think that if they find that this Green Lantern series is really popping off on HBO, I think there is a way that they can link it to the DCEU and maybe even create a movie out of the whole Green Lantern situation, or put the Green Lanterns into a movie like they were supposed to be in Justice League. So I do think there's a lot of room there. We know Marvel is doing this with their TV series, so why can't DC do the same thing? So let me know what you guys think. Do you think the Green Lantern live action movie is dead? The Green Lantern movie that we've been hearing is supposed to be a buddy cop movie with an older Hal Jordan training a young John Stewart. Let me know if you guys think that's dead, and do you want it to be dead? Do you still want a live action movie? I know the answer to that question. Most of you guys do, but are there any reasons why we shouldn't, and this TV show should be the only thing we get? So let me know in the comments down below what you think about that, and let's move on to the last topic today. And Robert Pattinson. Robert Pattinson as our Batman. I've been pretty hyped about this, and I've been pretty optimistic about this Robert Pattinson Batman iteration, and I've been a supporter for sure. What I really wanted to talk about is Robert Pattinson's performance in The Lighthouse. Now, his performance in Lighthouse absolutely reaffirmed my hopes that he will be a great Batman, and I think he really will, because this movie is basically William Dafoe, who is a legend in and of himself, and he probably still was. I mean, they both shined in this movie, but William Dafoe and Robert Pattinson in this movie, it was just them two on screen. They were the driving force of this movie, the back and forth between these two and their descent into madness. And I think both of these characters, or both of these actors, they really, really delivered in this movie. Now, this movie's not going to be for everyone, but I do highly suggest, if you're skeptical about seeing a Robert Pattinson Batman, and all you know about Robert Pattinson is his roles in Twilight, or his role in Twilight, I highly suggest you check this movie out. Now, again, it's not going to be for everybody. I watched it with my little brother, and he walked out hating the movie. Not denying that the performances wasn't good, but he just hated the movie in general because of the art house style of the movie. Again, I'm not here to talk about the movie itself and the complex themes that the movie involves and how it was shot. I think it was a masterpiece. Myself, I was really glad I watched it for the performances alone. And Robert Pattinson really, really, really shined. He had this weird accent. To be honest, it was hard to understand the both of them until you get used to it in about 15 minutes into the movie. But it's a movie that I highly, highly suggest you guys watch, especially for Robert Pattinson's performance, to get ready for the Batman and to get excited for what he can bring, because this guy, there's levels to his acting, and he has reach, man. To see what he was able to do with the great William Dafoe, and just the levels he brings to his characters is really exciting. And I think Matt Reeves made an excellent choice casting Robert Pattinson. Just makes me all the more hyped for this movie. So have you guys seen The Lighthouse? Let me know what you guys thought about Robert Pattinson's performance, and are you still skeptical about his portrayal of the Batman? Let me know in the comments down below. Well, that's it for today, guys. Thank you for watching. If you did enjoy the video, please give it a like. Please subscribe if you haven't already, and I'll catch you guys next time. Peace.